A couple things that I would like to mention to kind of always keep in the back of your mind when you're making a film and development. First and foremost is communication. Um, Everybody speaks differently and everybody hears differently. Although we all like to think that we speak and hear English, sometimes when I say, look over there at the red triangle, someone else hears, look over there at the black square. You, as a producer and as a director, have to learn how to recognize how people are speaking and how people are listening. And you have to learn how to get your point across without being condescending and without being you have to learn how to truly communicate at that one's level and not make it look like you're dumbing yourself down to a level to speak with them or to communicate with them. Everybody thinks differently. We're human. We are different. You know, it's hard to explain, but we're not all the same. We all have different experiences. We all grew up differently. We're not all Stepford children. We're not cookie cutter. And that's something you have to learn. You have to learn how to communicate with your people. It does not matter at the level of education. There are going to be grips out there that have higher levels of education than you do. And you're going to have to recognize that. You're going to have to recognize how to speak to that person to get them to do what you want them to do. Which follows into my next thing is keep your ego in check. We've all seen the movies about Hollywood. We've all seen the television shows about the big-time director, big-time producer. And unless your name is someone like a Spielberg or something like that, you can't afford to have that ego. You can't afford to treat anybody differently than you want to be treated. I mean, we all learned it in preschool. It's the golden rule. Do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. You have to do that on the film set. Throwing temper tantrums because you're not getting what you want doesn't work and is not going to get your film made. Throwing a director's chair across the set because something's not the way you want it is not going to work. Because at the end of the day, you're not hurting the production, you're hurting yourself. And people are going to remember that. People have long memories in this business. And they're going to remember, oh, that's the guy that threw the temper tantrum. And nothing's worse than seeing a grown man or a grown woman throw a temper tantrum on a set. And you don't really realize how stupid you look when you do that. And lastly, just be real. Be realistic. Know the film that you're making. Know the project that you're doing. Know what your constraints are. Know what the realities are. Understand that if you have a crowd scene and you need to have 300 people and you have a small budget, you may not be able to afford 300 people. So work with your DP and work with your AD on how to shoot that scene to make it look like there are more people than there really are. Because not everybody can afford to have 1,000 people in the stands at a baseball game or a couple thousand people just sitting there. Be creative on how to make your project look bigger than it really is. But at the end of the day, just be realistic on what you're making.